please subscribe to this podcast. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. Just click it. It's free, no cost, no charge, no nothing. So just please subscribe. We do that so we can, first of all, you'll see the videos, the new episodes when they come out faster. Secondly, we do it so the interviews that we do, they'll get out to as many people as possible. That's what drives these algorithms on YouTube to make sure that happens. And we want these people that, really important as far as interviewing them. We want those interviews to get out as fast as possible and to as many people as possible. So we thank you so much for listening and watching. Today we have Lori Rochat on, and she will be speaking about a book that she's written, Is Schizophrenia, Your Guide to Surviving and Thriving. Lori, thanks so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Lori, can you tell the viewers a little bit of what is schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia is where your thoughts are paranoid, your thoughts are messed up, you can say weird things, do weird things. It's a thought disorder, like where it's just really where your thoughts are messed up and you can't tell like reality from fantasy. But the only way to help schizophrenia is with medication, because the medication is what will control your thoughts and your thinking. And my book is part memoir of my journey with schizophrenia, and it's also part self-help of things I've learned to help others who have this diagnosis. When my mom first found out I had it, she had never even heard of schizophrenia, and she thought that I was on street drugs. So she had taken me to the hospital to be checked, and they discovered that I had schizophrenia, and I spent 3 months in a psychiatric ward. And then they let me out, and I went into a study for a new drug called Clozaril. And I was in that study for 2 years. And when I was done with the study, they took me off all my medications at the end of the study to see what would happen. And I went right back in the hospital for another 3 months on a psych ward. So I have spent 6 months of my life on a psych ward, and also when I got well and was stabilized, I was able to volunteer on a psychiatric ward for 2.5 years. And I dealt with all kinds of patients with all kinds of different mental illnesses.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And I'm sorry to hear that all that had happened to you. So as we go into the interview, writing this book, can you talk about the process and what made you want to write this book? Was it basically because of all the experiences that you had?
Absolutely. What I would do is I would journal every experience that happened to me. I would just journal it. And that's how I was able to create the book on different topics, because I had journaled. And like I said, it's part memoir where I tell about my personal experience, and then the other part of the book is self-help, like how do you get help? How do you survive and thrive? I don't think I showed, let me show, Schizophrenia, Your Guide to Surviving and Thriving. And like I said, it's part memoir, part self-help. So everything I've learned to get better and help me, I've helped others. And my book got voted number 11 on bookauthority.org of the best books of 2021.
Mm-hmm. It's really incredible. And I think it's important to know. So with schizophrenia, what should family and friends look out for when they see someone that maybe they think is schizophrenic, but they're not 100% sure because it's a whole new process to them?
Well, I have paranoid schizophrenia, and my thoughts were very paranoid, like thinking that the phone was bugged,
Okay.
Weird thoughts like the FBI was after me, weird religious delusions, like thinking that I had to read the Bible, and if I didn't read the Bible, I'm failing. And I would say things and do things that would be bizarre. And it's a very hard illness to diagnose and find, because people with schizophrenia, we don't believe that we're ill. We
Sure.
think that we're thinking clearly, we're thinking normal. But there's a big difference on me off my medication than on my medication. And once I started to take the medication, because I was forced to take meds when I was on the psych ward for 3 months. So I was forced to take medication. And by staying at the hospital for 3 months and being forced to take medication, once the medication started working, I'm thinking, oh my God, I really need this medicine. I'm really not thinking clearly without this medicine. And they always said at the hospital, you can't go home until they feel that you are stabilized. And when I got stabilized and left the hospital, I did what they said. I took all my medication like I was supposed to, because I didn't like the hospital. I felt like I was in prison. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it, is you feel like you're in prison. And at one point in the hospital, I remember just screaming at the top of my lungs, let me out of here. I mean, it just was so traumatic to be there. But if you don't go to the hospital and get help, or at least see a psychiatrist and get on medication, your quality of life is terrible, and you're always paranoid. Like, I couldn't sleep. Like, that was one of my main symptoms. I couldn't sleep at all. I would be up like all night without sleeping, and like I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. And that's another reason that my mom took me to the hospital, because I wasn't sleeping.
Wow. Such a tragic story, and thank God that you're better. And I know we spoke off air about the medication, and I hope that with the change, it helps out, and it's not a scary change. I know how that can be with changing medication, and the side effects and the differences, and it's not good. But yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No,
go
you
ahead,
go.
Laurie.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Now I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
There's also a lot of stigma out there with schizophrenia too. Like, there's a lot of people that just don't understand it. Sometimes family members are in denial. They don't want to believe that their family member is ill and needs medication.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of stigma. Like, like if you have schizophrenia, anybody could do stigma against you. And I talk about that in the book too. How do you deal with stigma?
So what do you hope people learn from the book when they read it?
To realize that if they have this illness, there is no way to get better unless if you take medication. And a lot of people, they don't want to take medication because of side effects.
Right.
But with this illness, I would rather have the side effects of the drooling, the sedation, the weight gain. I would rather have that than have my thinking all messed up and not being able to sleep. But until there's an actual cure, like if there's, quote unquote, a cure, medication is the only way to get better. But you have to be careful, because certain medications work better than others. And that's why you have to work with your doctor about the best medication.
Is this something that's genetic?
Yes, it
Okay.
could be genetic. Yes, absolutely.
As we go to the end of the interview, Laurie, where can people find more about you? Where can they buy the book in general?
You can buy the book at Amazon.com. And I have a website, LaurieRochatAuthor.com.
All right, LaurieRochatAuthor.com. You can get the book at Amazon. And I'm sure you can get it at other bookstores too, even if they don't have it. I'm sure they can order the book in
Right,
general.
it can probably be pre-ordered and sent to your house or.
Right. Now, can you get the book on your website also, Lori?
No, you have to go through Amazon.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right. So again, Lori Rochat, author.com. Definitely check Lori out there. Lori, this book could really help people, and I really appreciate you writing it. I think it's very important. And also, I hope people buy the book and read it. Again, Lori Rochat, author.com. And definitely check out the book on schizophrenia on Amazon by Lori Rochat. Lori, thanks so much for your time today. Hopefully, we can
Thank
do
you.
another one of these within the next couple of months.
Thank you so much.